Hello friends, welcome to Del Soccer. My name is Delali Frank and this is News Daily, where I serve you with all the major trending news in the last few hours. In today's edition, we're going to talk about the Ghana Football Association general election that just happened. The FA president, which is Okraku, has been re-elected again. We're going to talk about his executive council and also others that have lost their seats, which include Asamoah's former manager. We'll go into details of that election and bring you updates of everything that you need to know so far as that is concerned. In other news, we're going to talk about a Ghanaian player, Usman Bukari, who has been included in UFA's Champions League team of the week. That's what we're going to discuss and many more in today's edition. If it's your first time, as usual, please hit on the subscription button and let's build this community together. But without wasting much time, let's get straight into today's news. So we are going to start all the way in Tamale, where the Ghana Football Association held its extraordinary congress in Tamale. That's where all football people gathered to vote for the next FA president as well as other executive council members. So the election started with the FA president's election. But remember that at this point, the president is going unopposed because the person who filed for nomination was disqualified in the person of George Afriye. He has contended that decision. I understand that he has secured injunction and also whatever, and that is a matter of the court. But the FA went ahead with the election, which was held in Tamale, and then at the end, the FA president won resoundingly. He won with so many votes, a total number of 120 votes were casted. 117 went for the FA president, 1 abstained, and then 2 voted no for him. That's like resounding endorsements. Like more than 80% of the people in the room basically said get to us. So the current president, who is Edwin Simon Okraku, has been re-elected and he's going to be the president for the next 4 years. One that was keenly contested. I think I've always said that for the presidency, Ketme just ran away with it. But those that were keenly contested is the Executive Council, which is the Division 1 slot and then the Division 2, the Division 1 slot and then the Premier slot. So we're going to start with the Premier representative. It had Freddy Champon, Rafael Tevia Jampra, Edmond Kwabena Aka, Anthony Kwesi Appiah, who is currently a member. He was part of the initial committee. Kingsley Osebons, who is also from Bechem United, is part of the national committee. And then there's Nano Odu Safo, there's Dr. Randy Abbey, who was with Accra Heart of Lions, and he was a rep for the Division 1. Once his team qualifies to the Premier, now he stands on the Premier League seat instead of the Division 1. There's James Kwesi Appiah, former Black Stars head coach Kwesi Appiah, who now works with Kumasi St. Kroko. There's Kwabena Asensu, who works with Lagos Cities, and then there's journalists. I don't know if he's still a journalist or once a journalist or a journalist. A lawyer Monday, who is coming on the ticket of Kaila United. At the end of the votes, Freddy Champo had 11, Rafael Jambra had 7, Edmond Kwabena Aka had 8, Dr. Tony Obin had 7, Kingsley Osebons, who had 9, Nano Odu Safo had 10, Dr. Randy Abbey had 12, Kwesi Appiah had 10, and then Kwabena Senso had 7, and Eloy Amande also had 9. So at the end of the day, Dr. Randy Abbey, Freddy Champon, Nano Odu Safo, Kwesi Appiah were automatic candidates. They were elected automatically because of the votes they had, which was impressive. Kwesi Appiah on the ticket of Kumasi St. Kroko has been elected onto the Executive Council Committee. So there was a runoff between Eloy Amandi and then Kingsley Osebons. But at the end, Kingsley Osebons of Bechem United finally won, and then Eloy Amandi lost. But I think Eloy Amandi has done pretty much well, because from where he's coming from to be able to go all the way and compete, that's pretty much exciting. One thing is Kwesi Appiah. Kwesi Appiah, it is believed that he will be going to take the head coach of Sudan. At this point, we don't know whether he's going to take it. And others have also said what makes his role as executive council of the Ghana Football Association, and he's going to coach another national team. Like when we get there, we'll cross. But I'm pretty much excited for Kwesi Appiah's involvement in decision making. I've always said that our legends, ex-players, should always go for the big one. So for Kwesi Appiah showing up and winning by 10 votes, that's huge. That's just the highest was 12, which is Randy Abbey, and Kwesi Appiah had 10. That's a lot of great work done by him. And then on the Division 1, that's where the surprise came. So a quick reminder that Dr. Tony Obin, who was a rep for Mediama, has been voted out, and he has been replaced by Kwesi Appiah. That's basically what has happened. Kwesi Appiah has taken his seat. You feel me? Now let's go to the Division 1. The Division 1 had Makado, which is the Vice President Makado, the current Vice President Makado, Gideon Fosu, and then Eugene Nobel. They are the three that have been elected onto the Executive Council. Makado is still there, so he managed to win, but Enimado lost his seat. Enimado had 13 votes, and unfortunately, he lost it. So it was between Gideon, who had 29. Enimado had only 13. Oh, that's some big difference, because even Eugene, who I think is Crystal Palace, Eugene had 28, and then Gideon had 29, and then Enimado had 13. Some huge number difference. So that's the executive council that you have now. Now it's going to be Gideon Fosu, Makado, Eugene Nobel for the Premier for the Division 1, and then the Premier is going to be James Kwesi Appiah, Dr. Randy Abbey, Odro Safo, Kinsley Osei Bonsu, and then Fred Echampo. Those are going to be the executive council. And then there's one rep for the women football, which is going to be Madam Gifty Owari Mensah, who is the CEO of Berry Ladies and also the co-owner of Brekum Chelsea. 20 out of the women football clubs just said, Madam, we are voting for you. So that's all for the Ghana Football Association election. Kurtz is the president, continues his work. And the others, the big news is Kwesi Appiah coming onto it. And then as emergency manager, Mr. Enimado losing his seat. Let's go away and talk about another Ghanaian, who is Usman Bukari. Usman Bukari has been exciting for his club side. He played in the Champions League. He has scored 2 goals in the Champions League so far with 1 assist. His first game he played against Manchester City and scored a goal. This time around, in Royal Star Bulgaria's game against Young Boys, he scored a goal and provided an assist. As a result of that, he has been named in the UEFA Champions League Team of the Week. That's a big deal. So the young man finds himself among the top performers that performed so far as the Champions League is concerned in match day 2. So that's all for today's edition of Newsday. We talked about the GFA elections and also talked about Usman Bukari. But let me know what you think about the GFA election in the comment section. My name is Elali Franco. To meet again. Bye bye for now.